It's a game day ritual. Run the ball like Mitchell, or you can be like Reynolds and Skiffle. Give it to Johnston and he'll get triple. Pass it to Cleary, you know he'll run the pitch. Score points like Jabojevic, I'm game day fit, no need a switch. Cooking up like Cookie Man's in the kitchen. Who's that on the wing? It's Sivo. Score, try and do the Guffrino. Don't get too rowdy or too keen, or you'll end up like Hassan Tino. Get a 40-20 like DCE. Run the ball like hectic cheese. Support runner, that's Pappenhausen, but I still got Teddy at the SCG.
Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Final Siren Podcast, or welcome to the Final Siren Podcast. If you're new here, make sure you subscribe to us, follow our Instagram. We make a lot of content similar to what we're making tonight, and we try to do it as regularly as possible. Usually we try and get out on Monday. Usually we'll try and get out the round reviews. Then Wednesday will usually be the round previews or the tips. And then Thursday we'll do a match preview usually. So thank you to anyone who's willing to join us tonight and willing to watch tonight. But yeah, I will stress that make sure you go follow the Instagram. That's where I update you on every time we're going to be streaming and other content such as power rankings, team of the week, an updated ladder, and we're even doing our own the Final Siren medal for this year. But Faraz, how are you doing tonight, mate?
Yeah, not too bad. Obviously, like for us Muslims, we've got Ramadan coming up, so like a busy month ahead. But just enjoying the footy. I mean, it's been a crazy season so far, isn't it?
Yeah, definitely. I'm looking forward to this round of footy. I look forward to every round of footy. Footy is it's the best, and it's the greatest sport to watch for me, and it's the main sport we love covering here. But we're going to be doing something a little bit different today. Usually, the way it's gone for pretty much the whole time since we started the podcast is I ask the questions and stuff. Whenever Lachlan's on, he'll ask some questions and stuff like that. But tonight, Faraz and I are going to be co-hosting a bit. We're going to be starting off on each of the results. Going to try and make it flow, see how it works out. If you like it, let us know. And any feedback you want to put into the chat, please do. We're still new to this. We're still trying to learn. So any feedback, positive or negative, let us know. But we'll head into the results. I'll start us off. Thursday night, Sea Eagles 34 to the Eels 30. Now this game, it seemed like the Sea Eagles were going to run away with it, possibly by 13 plus at one stage. It looked like the Sea Eagles were well in control. The Eels started sparking a bit of a comeback, and the Sea Eagles went out further a bit again. Eels started to come back again. It was a very seesawing game. And for anyone who ended up watching, you would know for the match preview for this game, we did have Pro Enzo Vids and Entertain House on that night. So thank you to those lovely blokes for hopping on and giving their thoughts. They both got their same game multis right, and Lachlan got his same game multi right for that game. I was the only one to not get the same game multi right. But it was a good game. I really enjoyed it. It was a high-scoring game. I think the goals ended up being the deciding factor in the end. But Faraz, what did you make of the game?
Yeah, mate, I'm a bit filthy on myself. I'd Manly all week, then I went Parramatta. Look, it was a fantastic game, mate. Look, obviously, there wasn't really enough defense in this game, but attacking-wise, it stole the show. I think Manly were quite dominant at the start. They hopped up to a 10-0 lead, and it just looked like they were in total control. Then Parramatta fought their way back into the match. It was a bit topsy-turvy and dipsy-doovy. I know it's a funny way to describe it, but that's how the game flowed. In the second half, it was not much any different. Manly looked the same side in the first half. They took a big lead. Then Parramatta came back. But unfortunately for Parramatta, Mitch Moses missed a few kicks. They let in a soft try at the end. This is a game they could have easily gone back and they could have won. And if it does come to back in the season where they are fighting for the A and they do miss out, this is a game they were particularly looking at. Because if Moses gets at least one of those kicks and they don't let that soft try away, they could have won this game. But as for Manly, congratulations. They started the season 2-0. It's only 2 weeks in, but you can kind of tell Manly aren't going to be that side last year, at least with Turbo back.
Yeah, definitely. And I agree. Manly, they look a lot more in control when Turbo's on the park. And that is the same thing every year. It's just what happens. But yeah, it was a really good game, a great game for a Thursday night game.
Yeah, anyways, now we're moving on to the Friday night games. We head to Newey for the first Friday night fixture at 6 p.m. We've got the Newcastle Knights taking on the Redcliffe Dolphins. So, not sure about you, mate. I took the Dolphins 13 plus here, but I've got to say, I'm going to give some credit to the Knights. They scored more points than I thought they would. They brought up some intensity. They were even leading this game at one point. But look, Dolphins just far too good. Wayne Bennett, every time, he just sparks something up. He is NRL, mate.
He definitely is. Absolutely loved this game. Congratulations to the Dolphins for still being undefeated. And they have the Broncos this week. It's a very big task. We'll discuss that obviously more when we do the tips tomorrow night. But I was surprised by Newcastle. I really was. I ended up tipping the Dolphins by 14. And you could argue that this game it didn't deserve to be a 16-point win to the Dolphins. Should have been a lot closer in the end. Yeah.
I just sorry for cutting you off. I promise I won't do that a lot, but I will say though, I tipped the Dolphins by 16 on NRL tipping the margin exactly. I just put 16 randomly just before the game on the money straight out. And it was just pure guessing. I just thought, why not? Let's just go for a bigger margin here. I got it in the end.
Absolutely crazy. That is awesome. I had them tipped 14 the whole week. And I changed it to 10 just before kickoff, and I changed it back to 14 like just before. And I was hoping Jermaine Osako was going to miss that last kick on the siren, but oh well, wasn't meant to be. But no, that was a great game. I'll head us into Friday night. Roosters Rabbitohs. This game lived up to the hype, and they haven't really lived up to the hype as much of recently in the last few years. These Roosters versus Rabbitohs games. But it definitely did live up to the hype. Roosters ended up getting the win 20-18 over the Rabbitohs. And it went down to the final seconds. It's everything you wanted from a Roosters versus Rabbitohs game. Some good performances from Jackson Paulo against his old club. But what did you make of it again, Faraz?
Well, just like you said, this game went down to the final siren putty. No, but look, mate, I was there. It was such a fantastic night. I've been going to the last few Roosters Rabbitohs games at Allianz. Have to say, Allianz is a top-tier stadium for sure. This game lived up to its hype. It may have not been the best footy the two teams have played, but that's to be expected. These two teams, they bring out the best in each other. The rivalry, the intensity, it felt so good being natural, just being there and watching two teams fight it out, and probably the best rivalry in the game. Rabbitohs were leading up 12-0 early. They had all the momentum, but the Roosters fighting class. Luke Keary slotting a few through kicks. Sam Walker composed. On the wings, you had Jackson Paul against his former side. Scoring that double. He gave it to them, you bet. He probably felt good about it. And look, credit to the Roosters. Look, a lot of people were slowly starting to doubt them, but this one just shows what the side that is really capable of. Brandon Smith got into his best towards the end. I don't know how you make of Jake Turpin, but I feel for sure if Brandon Smith can give you that form, Roosters are top 4.
Yeah, I agree. Roosters, they looked good, and that's the first game they've looked good in so far, I reckon, for the season.
Yeah, now heading down to Saturday afternoon at Seabus Stadium. Jesus, was a hot arvo there, but nonetheless, love to see the footy back at Seabus. You've got the Gold Coast Titans taking on the Melbourne Storm. Let me just say this. A lot of people did give the Titans a chance. I didn't tip them, but, mate, what did you make of this game? High-scoring affair. Did you expect the Titans to pull through?
Oh, my. Anyone who watched the potty last week where we did the tips would know I tipped Titans 13+, and I had them actually tipped in the tipping, and I think I was getting ready to go to the Broncos game, and I was at the station, and just before the game started, I changed my tip. I changed it to Storm, thinking they'd get the win. Oh no, that's horrid for me. It was horrid. Should have stuck with my gut. Didn't end up sticking with it. But good job to Titans. I was really impressed. The Titans, they did play well at home. But it's not often you see a team score 34 points and lose, especially Melbourne.
Yeah, look, I'm going to try to be as less negative as I can, but looking at this result, the Storm made 17 errors, right? And they only lost this game just by 4 points. So, and if you look at it really, 2 of the tries Titans scored in that second half, they were gifted by Melbourne practically. They didn't have to do anything. Melbourne just gifted them with silly errors, silly passing games, and that's where you miss Munster, who can control the game with the flow. To Titans' credit, no one talks about it, they defended really well that second half. They threw away whatever Melbourne threw at them, but the challenge is going to get even more tough for them. Mind you, they had a few injuries themselves, but you're not going to do this every week where you try to outscore the team. The defense has to come into play. And look, Titans can score points. Like me, you can admit, looking at those highlights, they look like some young freaks that play free-falling footy, but defense wins games. And look, the Titans will definitely not be bottom 4. They have enough points in them to go up the ladder, but if they are to be top outside, they got to work on defense. I know I know Titans would be so like, well, we won the game, we outscored them. Fair enough, and you deserve that. They scored 38 points. Mind you, it's not easy against the Storm, but you got to do that week in and week out consistently and defend
Yeah,
well.
definitely. Yeah, defense wasn't really on show for this game from either team. But it was a pretty good game nonetheless. It was quite high scoring. It was quite fun to watch. The Saturday evening game, though, was Cowboys versus Warriors. The Warriors getting the win in Townsville over the Cowboys. I did not see this one coming. I thought the Cowboys like 13 plus would practically be a lock this week. What about you?
I actually had the Cowboys 1-12. I thought the Warriors would try, but to win 13 plus in Townsville, I mean, credit to the Warriors. They've had it tough the last few years. They brought into Martin Charles. They looked all right in the first 2 rounds. They got the win in the first game. Second game was a bit underwhelming against the Roosters. They played really well, but a few soft errors. And see, they focused on their discipline. They defended really well. They trusted each other inside and out, and they got the win. And look how comfortably they did it. And mind you, this was in Townsville. The Cowboys barely often lose at Townsville, and like the way they did it with so much ease and comfort, I got to say, we've all been critical of Sean Johnson. If that's to come from Sean Johnson on a consistent basis, they'll win a lot more games. And that's what they were sort of lacking last year. SJ not firing. His stepping game, his kicking game. Him and Reynolds were probably the only 2 good halves this week. We'll obviously get to Reynolds in a second. But Sean Johnson, his stepping, his kicking game was all over the park. He destroyed the Cowboys' middles. They just outplayed them in every department. The Cowboys made a few silly errors. And, like, a lot of people had Cowboys winning the comp in top 4. And that still could be stand by. It's an open comp, but it's so much open this season. Like, the Warriors, they've been Cows 13 plus in Townsville.
Yeah, the Cowboys, they've been, I feel like disappointing is the right word to use. They've been a bit disappointing to start the season. I was hoping they'd sort of keep up the form they had at the end of last year. But alas, it's not meant to be. Cowboys ended up losing by 14 in Townsville as well. The place they made pretty much a fortress last year. I think they only lost 1 game in Townsville last year or something like that. But congratulations to the Warriors. It's good to see them winning away from New Zealand. I think that was their first win in Australia.
I think it was in Australia for a while. I'm not sure, but it's been a while.
I think it may have been, was it maybe 8 months or something? It was something close to that. It was quite a few months. So congratulations to the Warriors.
Then we head to Saturday night for the last game of Saturday at Suncorp Stadium. You've got the Brisbane Broncos taking on the Dragons. I mean, does that score really represent the game? I mean, I don't know what happened in the last 10 minutes, but Brisbane decided to play some Camp Patriot Rugby League. And look, we're all Broncos fans here. We're so excited. But Noah, honest thoughts on the games. Were the Broncos that good, or were they average and the Dragons just poor?
I'll tell you what, the Broncos, the first 70 minutes of the game, I think they actually didn't play well. The last 10 minutes, that was champagne rugby league. That's exactly what you want from your team. And being there, I loved watching it live that last 10 minutes. But I tell you what, they did give me a big scare. Obviously, they got the 22-point win in the end. And I am happy with first place at the moment, the Broncos. But need to be better this week against the Dolphins. They're a much more quality team than the Dragons so far this year. So, big things to come this week. But I'm very happy with how the Broncos performed.
Look, I'm a Broncos fan. I'm really happy to get the win in the end. 2 points is the most that matters. But look, I'll go in a positive frame. I think the positive frame for me is that the game was 18-0. It could have gone either way. You had Ben Hart, one of the best NRL rugby league halfbacks in the game right now. You can control the game. You can swing a game like that. But look, the way we just dominated them, it just took us field position, just one penalty. You get Walsh with the ball in hands. He found Cobbo. He scored. The game wasn't over, but we still kept going. We kept backing our instincts. And when we decided to put some pressure on, get a few runs in the middle, and then not just try to score every play, we scored points. We found gaps. Payne Haas, what a machine, man. After all what he's gone through last year with the club, even I'll be honest, I have a few doubts about him coming to this year. I mean, he just shut me up instantly. He shut up everyone. Can you imagine, a front rower coming off the bench seals the game for you effectively, himself individually. Reynolds was on song tonight. His was outstanding. He's even developed a bomb now, so he's added more to his game. I feel like Ezra Mam had a quiet start, then he eventually came back good. Because Tony Staggs easily his best game, and surprise, 14 runs. So when he gets involved more, that's when he's at his best. I think Corey Jensen, underwhelming hero, mate, isn't he? He just performs every single week, and honestly, we were talking about it, but he keeps being consistent for the Broncos. What do you make of Corey Jensen?
Corey Jensen is pretty much the epitome of a hero in a team that in a really good team that doesn't get praised, and he plays so well, and he's a great front rower for the Broncos, and he doesn't get the praise he deserves. Great player, and I can tell you, being there live, this is not so much on Corey Jensen, but what you were saying before about Adam Reynolds, his bombs. I went to quite a few Broncos games last season. I've studied Reynolds and what he does. He is putting up about like 10 spiral bombs a game so far in this current season. He did it against the Cowboys. He did it against the Dragons, which is I've not seen him do before, and it's really troubling. It troubled the Cowboys. It troubled the Dragons. I'm hoping it troubles the Dolphins this week as well. But moving back to what you said about Corey Jensen, I agree. He's such sort of untalked about. He's such a great front rower and good value for money as well. I don't think he's on that much.
Mate, like, he's that type of player. Like, he would walk through the streets right now and most would even recognize who he was.
Yeah, definitely. We'll move on to the second last game of the round. Sunday afternoon, Bulldogs versus Tigers. The Bulldogs, they were winning 26-6. Let me double check. Yes, they were winning 26-6 with 14 minutes left to go. And then they just narrowly escaped with a win. For us, what did you make of this one?
Yeah, I was down there at Belmore Squadron. Shout out to Belmore, the home of the Bulldogs. Such a spiritual ground, bro. It may not be a big stadium like your Accor or ANZ, Accor and Coldbank or Allianz, but it still has a lot of meaning. It's a beautiful place to watch rugby league, and shout out to the people of Belmore. The fans were making the presence felt. The noise was outstanding. Look, the Bulldogs, they were up 26-6, and you're just thinking this is going to be a shellacking. The Bulldogs might put 50 on the Tigers today, and then Wakeham came onto the field, and they just looked like a whole bloody different team. Like, Luke Brooks, bloody me, were you playing like Darren Lockyer 2.0 or something? Man just turned it up in the second half, man. I think that's what Luke Brooks needs. He needs a half threat that will complement his style. That will take the pressure off him. Wakeham basically did all the kicking and whatnot. Luke Brooks just ran his footy, yeah. He just tried to find grabs. And no surprise he scored a try himself when he tried to engage the line. I think that's where it comes to where should the Tigers have let Hastings go? If they had a Jackson Hastings in that game, do you think they'd win that game? Is it the difference to what the Tigers have been missing for?
I think so. I don't think Luke Brooks is a halfback, and you know that I've said that quite a few times. I think he's a really good 5'8", and we saw that last season when him and Hastings played together. I'm not sure why the Tigers ever strayed away from playing them together in the halves. They were a really good halves pairing. But I'm not too sure how I feel about the Tigers this week. They announced a team list. Like, we'll touch more on it tomorrow, obviously. But Dewey at fullback with Dane Laurie on the bench, I'm not too sure I'd like that. Joel Fahengawi dropped.
I
don't know. I saw a quote from Andrew. Oh, sorry to cut you off. I saw a quote from Andrew. Not Andrew Johns. Andrew Voss, and he was saying this was before the team lists were announced, and he said, I believe it was, "I'm just a rugby league commentator, and I know what I saw on Sunday. I saw a 5-minute miracle, and then a side turned back to playing badly in the last 7 or 8 minutes. If the Tigers pick Brandon Wakeham, then it is absolutely them hitting the panic button." And I do agree.
I agree.
Upon reading
I agree. And look, I think Wakeham probably deserves his call up, but like that's a worry for a team, yeah, that's struggled so far. They've already hit the panic button by changing the team. Like, no matter how bad or poor form you are, you always get backed by the team. You are no matter what, and that's what the good teams are. Luke Keary, he had that form through his last year. Ezra Mam, I know he got dropped, but still he got back at a young age. Wakeham's already come to the team. Like, Dewey was like against the Storm, right? They've changed up the team already. It's round 4. It's such a close comp. They've already changed the side a lot. They've dropped Jai off and Goey. I don't know what is thinking there. Like, if Tigers fans still want to defend their team for doing the right thing, you're out of your mind. I'm sorry. Like, how much more times do we have to see this go through? The team's been changed already. It's round 4. There's already been talks about Tim Sheens as a coach. He can't coach. Like, everything just doesn't seem to be going up well there. And in a sense, I know this is a bit dramatic, but I feel like that comeback's actually a shit thing for happened because they didn't get the 2 points. Overall, they still played bad. And now we'll give fake confidence to the players. And what if they turn up like that? There's no guarantee it's going to happen all the time. They'll have a comeback. And mind you, Bulldogs had no bench. They had Jaden Ockenberg coming off. So, like, it would be embarrassing if they couldn't score points. Like, they shouldn't be too satisfied from coming back. Like, Bulldogs are still the better team that game. They just had a fallout, and they still won the game in the end. Tigers didn't get the 2 points. So look, they got to be playing better than that because Bulldogs are still not a top 8 side at the moment. They're still getting their feet. So imagine they come up against the Bulldogs later on in the season. That's not going to happen.
Yeah, definitely. For me, I don't know. It's just there's so much wrong going on at the Tigers, and I know that they've had a change of coach. They've had a change of coaching staff. They've got new players in, better players. But the fact that they signed Abby Coruscant. They've made him captain. The first game, they put him on the bench and played Jake Simpkin at starting 9. Now they've moved Adam Dewey to fullback when they apparently signed Charlie Staines to play there, and they have Dane Laurie there. So they have a fullback playing off the bench.
That's
Charlie
Staines fullback as well.
Yeah, and they have so many different people they've signed to play different positions, and they're not playing them there. Dropping Joa for Hengawi, who's easily the Tigers' best player last year, is absolute
that makes zero
sin.
sense.
That's terrible. They're in shambles.
Mate, that's when you know a club's in shambles. They've already made so many changes because they don't back the team. Like you said, Abby has to be moving. He hasn't been starting and whatnot. Then Dewey's just playing fullback now out of the side, and Wakeham's just come in. Let's talk about Luke Brooks. I think maybe people might have taken the Tigers too much in the offseason with their signings and whatnot because they can't find a way to balance a roster. Now they've changed things. I know Appy started last year, then he came off the bench, but that's Panthers, bro. He had kick out and all that next to him. He had Dylan Edwards to work with. He had the best halfback in the game. He's with nobody in that team, and I hate to say it, but the Tigers you want them to do well, but they're not learning. It's just the same thing over and over, and they still somehow look worse than last year. I didn't care about the comeback. They didn't win in the end. 2 points matters in this competition. They didn't get the 2 points.
Oh, yeah. And anyone who knows me knows I absolutely love the Tigers, and I hope they can spark a comeback this season to sort of get their season back on track. But I'm sorry, Tigers fans, I don't see it happening. I feel like it's a shame to see, but no matter what happens, the Tigers are always the Tigers, and they never seem to change. And it is sad to see, but it's what seems to happen. But I guess we'll see what happens this week against the Storm. They've had a lot of changes. It'll be a telling sign.
Okay, sorry. Heading into Sunday for the last game at GIO Stadium, you've got the Canberra Raiders taking on the Sharks. Raiders were winners before this game, then they obviously produced an upset. I'm not sure if you backed the Raiders in, but I definitely did them for an upset. I just thought being at Canberra, everyone was just sleeping on the Raiders at home. No Hines still. I thought Raiders they were even a bogey side against Cronulla. I think they won last night. They got the job done. I've got a tip right. They hope we get a pass mark this week. What did you make of the Raiders' performance? Was it gutsy? Do you think the Sharks were a bit off? How was Schroeder's performance in this game?
Very gutsy from the Raiders. I was someone who did end up tipping the Raiders this week. I knew it was going to be a close game, but the Raiders, they played really well. Corey Horsburgh scored a double. Stoked about that. Absolutely stoked for him. Not very often you see one of the big boys getting a meat pie. 2 meat pies as well.
Mark Nicholson has to do that.
Yeah, he's great, Mark Nichols. He absolutely the GOAT. But Tomoko, I thought Tomoko was really good for the Raiders. Hopawate did a really good job in place of Nick Kotrich. I feel like for the Sharks, wasn't too many standouts, but I thought Braden Trindle's been doing a good job in the absence of Nico Hines. I'm not too sure. I haven't really seen the team lists. If you have seen them, can you let me know? Do you know if Trindle's playing 6 or is Moylan playing 6 still?
I'm not sure. I'm going to have a quick look at it. I think Hines is back this week, yeah?
Yeah, Hines is back this week, which is why I'm questioning who they've partnered him up with, because I feel like it should be Trindle. And it's
you
Moylan.
Reckon he's been more impressive than Moylan?
I think he had. Trindle's been really good, and Moylan's kept his 6 spot. Trindle's still in the 17. He's on the bench.
Yeah. So, they've got with Matt Moylan and Nico Hines. I'm going to see if he's on the bench. Nah. Oh, Braden Trindle's on the interchange bench at 17.
Yeah, 17. Not sure I agree with that. I feel like he has to either be in the side as a half,
but can I be honest,
starting half. Yeah, what's up?
But can I be honest, though? Trindle is that good. I reckon he could slot into any club that needs a half. He would be good for the Tigers.
Yeah. Well, I feel Trindle and Wakeham I've found very similar in some aspects because they're both players for a club who were probably like when Wakeham was at the Bulldogs, probably good enough to start, but unfortunate enough not to get proper opportunities due to the people they have at the club. So I hope he gets a spot somewhere.
Also, I'm sorry to I know we just moved past the game, but I have to say it's important for me. I feel like with Luke Brooks, I think he's still very much a quality player, but I feel he's not going to get that recognition at the Tigers. I feel like he needs a new team, in my opinion. He still has it in him, I believe it, but
he does.
He's not at the Tigers. Like, the fans just don't give a shit at this point.
All the fans hate Luke Brooks, and I feel like, honestly, I'm going to say it, Tigers fans, the reason Luke Brooks plays so shit is because you treat him like shit. If you didn't treat him the way you treated him, I reckon he'd be a lot better player. So, yeah, I'm not too happy with that. I mean, Luke Brooks, I'm not too sure of his. He's only 28 still. He's still got a bit of footy left in him.
And I'm not defending him. I know he's been there for a while, but how can you not see Dewey and his last year performances? He was your best player arguably 2 years ago. Look at him now. I can't believe it. Look, and I truly mean it. Every time I'm looking at Luke Brooks on the screen, I feel like he's creating chances. He's getting through line breaks. He's getting a lot of line engagements. I feel like he's creating chances, and that's all on Sunday. It is what it is. Yeah. Tigers fans, you guys do whatever you want. Your club's still shit. And that's a serious message. I know. I'm sorry. I know it's a bit of a joke, but seriously, Luke Brooks, the amount of hate he gets for a rugby league player, I can't believe it. I want him to go well, man.
Yeah, he gets too much hate, and he doesn't deserve the hate he gets. It's unfortunate and it's uncalled for.
But going back to this game, I tipped the Raiders by 4. I don't know if I tipped the margin, but this is a classic game, mate. I think this just goes to show that the Raiders will be so inconsistent. They have a few good performances, but outside at home, I don't think they'll be the same side. What do you make of the Raiders? Do you think they're a top 8 smoky? Because this performance does show that they can match up with the top dogs, but we obviously saw the first 2 weeks they can't win away from Canberra consistently.
Well, I feel like although the Sharks are quality without Nicho Hynes, I feel like it's a bit of a red flag that some teams have struggled against the Sharks without their main man Nicho Hynes, the Dally M winner of the team, the halfback who leads them around.
Right.
I still don't see Raiders as a top 8 threat yet. They could change my mind, but I think away from home, like you said, I think they'll struggle this season. I feel like at home they'll poach a few wins, but can't really see them doing much outside of GIO.
That's right.
Okay. We'll head to the news. I'll start us off with the news. First bit of news, Shaq Mitchell is set to miss 8 weeks with a foot injury. For us, does this really affect South Sydney that much to you? I mean, because they are short on forwards.
He may not be a high-quality player, but it definitely does affect them. They've got barely anyone to pick from for the bench. They've already got Tatola out now. I think Shaq's out now. I think Murray has been with injuries. I think Colomatagi isn't 100%. So, look, it's not helping their cause because, we saw it with the Broncos. I'm sorry to ramble about the Broncos, but we saw it with them. Martin Tapau, Corey Jensen, you got that rotation, then you get Payne Haas for 60 minutes, and look what he done. So the Rabbitohs need all their forwards on Tiger, and this does affect them.
Yeah, definitely. Well, I'm just going to quickly go through their forward pack real quick. Daniel Saluka-Fafita, Thomas Burgess, Keenan Koloamatangi, Jacob Host, Cameron Murray, Michael Cheekham, Davey Moali, and Jed Cartwright. And
also don't forget, Jairo is also out as well.
Yeah, Arrow's out. They have Arrow out, Tatola out, Sele out. They've had Havili out, and now they have obviously they have Shaq Mitchell out. So they're losing a lot of forward power, and you got to feel for the Rabbitohs. It's disappointing because they are a really quality team, and usually they do have a really great forward pack. But now they're left with some because Thomas Burgess, he usually comes off the bench. Saluka-Fafita has only played a handful of first grade games. Jacob Host, he has bad luck with injury, so he's only just returned into that team. And then Cheekham, Moali, and Cartwright make up the forwards on the bench. It's not exactly a good bench for forwards. But yeah, if they lose any more troops there, it's going to be tough to see how they can field a team. They might have to apply for something in the NRL to give them more players because I'm not sure how they can field a team based on that. But you take us through to the next piece of news.
Yeah, so look, unfortunately for the Canberra Raiders, Daniel Leroy has now been silent for 8 to 10 weeks with fractured jaw. So I don't know how much it affects him. I think he was starting for the team, right? So would this mean that does that mean now that Tom Starling is probably going to play 80 minutes?
If I'm the Raiders, I'm putting Starling on. I'm putting Zach Wolford back into the team.
Yeah.
He was great. I'm not sure why he ever got dropped.
So would you start Tom Starling or have him off the bench, coming off the bench?
He's been really good off the bench. I think we've done team of the week for the first 3 rounds. He's been the team of the week utility for 2 weeks straight now.
Yeah.
So for me, I'd keep him on the bench. I'd start Zach Wolford and sort of rotate them a bit.
Yeah.
What about you? What would you do though?
No, I'm fine with that because I think Tom Starling adds more impact, and he's sort of like a Corey Pakes sort of player that he can't really play 80 minutes fully. He gets gassed out easily, but when he does come on to the second half, he injects himself really well into the game when it heads to its final stages.
Definitely. Nick Kotrich could miss up to 7 weeks with a hamstring injury. Just about the Raiders' luck. I think, hear me out. For me, this means Albert Hopewade keeps that wing spot for now.
Yep.
And with all the injuries they've got, I reckon it's about time they bring back in Jared Croker. Get him to 300 games.
Well, they've already missing Jordan Rapana, right? Is he back this week?
I'm not too sure. He's going to be. I think he's been out for a few weeks. So they're missing Xavier Savage with a broken jaw as well.
And Rapana will play fullback in cover, and now he's not there. So then you got Savage out. Now you got Kotrick on the wing. Then surely they can find Jared Croker a place in the spot, right? And
I'm not sure how they haven't.
I'm not saying now because I want to play 300, but look at the injury totals now. This is beyond ridiculous. They've also lost I'm not sure what it would take for Jared Croker. Wait, what is their centers pairing actually, by the way? Let me check. So is Sebastian Chris in the team?
Sebastian Chris has been playing fullback due to the people out.
All right.
They still haven't put Croker in.
So this is their 1-5. So they've got Chris at fullback, James Schuller at wing, Matthew Tomoka center, Harley Smith-Shields at center, Albert Hopewade. That's an underwhelming 1-5. There's some talent there, but I'd rather Jared Croker instead of Harley Smith-Shields. I think he's been playing well at New South Wales Cup level as well, Jared Croker. So a bit surprising there.
Yeah, I'm not even sure. Jared Croker's not even in the reserves. I feel like he's been done dirty there by the Raiders. He's still got footy in American Jared Croker, and he's been unlucky with the injury.
Have they totally moved past Jared Croker then, in a sense?
I'm guessing so. I can't see how else. Oh, by the way, sorry, I forgot. Team lists have been announced, so we don't even need to worry about the Danny Levi situation. They actually have done exactly what I said I would do. They've put Zach Wolford at 9. They've kept Tom Starling on the bench, which I reckon that's the right play.
That's great.
But yeah, all yours.
Edward Costa resigns with the Warriors until the end of 2025. I mean, just common sense. He's been playing some brilliant footy for the Warriors, and he fits right into that caliber of side. So, look, good news for the Warriors fans. This was bound to happen. Well done, Edward Costa. What are your thoughts on this?
Yeah, him and Marcelo Montoya have both been playing good footy. Cossey, obviously, he's a very young Warriors player. I'd expect him to be at the Warriors for quite a few years to come now, and I can't wait to see what he does. I reckon he could be a really good player for the Warriors. So good re-signing, really good re-signing. Ruben Cotter, he'll miss 2 to 4 weeks with a meniscus injury. I'm not sure if that's how it's pronounced. It might be meniscus, but you hate to see it. He's a good player. He's a bit unlucky with the injury at times, though. What do you make of it?
Look, I'm a Broncos fan. To all the cows, stuff you hope you missed the air. But Cotter, man, I've got so much respect for him. He's sort of carrying on the same level. They've arisen their game so much. The Cowboys are already having a shaky start of the season, and this is a huge loss into the middle. He has a lot of spark and injection. He's good looking. He's got everything about him as a player and a person. But yeah, this is a huge loss for the Cowboys. It could affect their season at the start. 2 to 4 weeks, that's a massive loss. And look, no doubt he'll be filthy. But I think, who is it that comes in now? Griffin Neame?
Griffin Neame's come in to start, which I really like.
I feel like that's more than a handy replacement for Cotter at this stage. I feel like that's obviously Cotter odds more with ball playing skills and whatnot, but that's a likely replacement in this sense.
Yeah, for me, the only thing I possibly would have looked at doing is this is a bit of an out of the box one, and I'll quickly check where he is in the team. But I would have been tempted to keep Griffin Neame on the bench sort of as an impact and bring James Tarmo in to start.
I guess so, because it would give some of the bench rotation a rest as well for the Cows.
I'm just not sure how much I like James Tarmo coming off the bench because I feel like he's getting a bit older. He's getting a bit on an age.
Their
I
bench
feel
has
like
actually been underwhelming, to be honest, the Cowboys.
it has, and last season it was very good, and it's been underwhelming to start though. They'll get there though. The Cowboys, they'll get there. I mean, they still have to wait for Scott Drinkwater to come back, and then obviously Peter Hickard to come back as well.
Nah, I mean, I don't know. I mean, like, every team's going to have injuries. So it's about, like, and this is where the best things we'll find out about, like, who can handle injuries the most. Because everyone has injuries at the moment. You know what I mean?
Yeah, definitely. Move us on to the last piece of news.
Whew. Felice Kofushi been found guilty of the NRL judiciary and will miss 4 weeks. No, we're all Broncos fans, but it's just bad for the game. A highly anticipated rivalry match. It's just bad for the game. And how do you feel? Do you care at all? You're a Broncos fan. Do you feel happy about this? Do you feel sad? Would you have wanted him to play? What do you feel?
I'm happy that none of our Broncos boys have to worry about their ribs now. That's what I'm happy about. He's been taking out every player's ribs, left, right, and center. And I mean, I hate obviously. Yeah, Brandon Smith. He's not an easy bloke to hit.
No way.
He is built like a block of cheese, and that's why they call him that. But holy cow, I wouldn't say I'm happy about it. I love Felice Kofusi, and I wanted Dolphins to be full strength. That way, if Broncos did beat him, we can sort of bragging rights. But
there's still no excuses. Like, still more than capable. But yeah,
exactly.
We're
missing Corey Oates as well. So yeah,
I will say. I am sort of devastated he's not playing because I would love to see Payne Haas versus Felice Kofushi matchups, that sort of thing. But, I mean, as a Broncos fan, I was already confident with it anyway. So now that he's gone, that probably – because Felice Kofushi has sort of been that, like, leader of the pack. You know, in an aging pack, he's still young. He's still got, like, a lot of ambition. He's sort of like that leader that gets you around. He gets you up and going with those shots. He's got a good running game behind him as well. Like, he'll be severely missed in the middle. He brings that intensity for a new side like the Dolphins.
Yeah, definitely.
Would you say it's fair, though, the charge? Or would you have given him less weeks?
I thought he was going to get off with just a fine. I think he should have, and that's why I'm so disappointed about it because I don't think it was 4 weeks. Yeah. I'm not sure how he can get 4 weeks for that, but then Joseph Suaalii, who did the same thing to Charles Nickel-Klukstad, who had to sit out with a head injury.
It's the Roosters though. No, I'm joking.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, the Roosters. You know they've got some of that. Sliding the brown paper bag under the table to the referees there. It's not good, not a good look for the game. But I mean, I'm just happy that, like I said before, our players don't have to count their ribs after the game to figure out which ones are missing. That's all that matters. A ladder update. Here's what will happen. I'll get you to read out the top 8 teams. I'll read the bottom 9 now. But talk us through this one. I'll quickly remove the thing from the screen and just read out the team and the points.
So you want me to go through the top 8 or the full ladder?
You go through the top 8. I'll do the bottom 9.
All right, cheers, mate. So at the top, we've got the mighty Brisbane Broncos. The ambush season's on, mate. They're on 6 points currently with a 4 against a positive 35. The Redcliffe Dolphins in second spot. I'm not sure how much people saw that. They're 3-0 currently, plus 32 points on 6 points as well. Then you've got Manly following it up on 6 points as well, plus 29. And to round out the top 4 is the New Zealand Warriors. Another surprise there again, with plus 14 with 4 points. Good on the Warriors. Just outside the top 4 is the Panthers on 4 points. Obviously, they had the bye recently, so 2 points there. Plus 5, just got a narrowing. So the Rabbitohs lost by 1 point to the Bronx. Then in 6th place, you've got the Gold Coast Titans. So currently the third best Queensland team at the moment. They're on 4 points as well. Obviously, got the job done with the Storm on the weekend. Plus 2 points just for and against. Then at 10th place, you've got the Sydney Roosters, who are also on just plus 0. Positive, though. 4 points. The Doggies just ran out of the top 8 at 4 points. Obviously, beating out the Storm, but got a beating by the Seagulls in the first game, so minus 7 there. Now to you, mate, for the bottom 4. Sorry, bottom 8.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, thank you so much. So the Dragons, they're on 4 points and a negative 8 for and against. Obviously, just solely because of the Broncos flogging there. The Rabbitohs, they've been a bit unlucky. 2 points with a positive 1 for and against. The Raiders also 2 points with negative 3. The Sharks, they're in 12th position, 2 points with negative 9. In 13th place, we've got the Melbourne Storm on 2 points with negative 14. Not used to seeing them that low on the ladder. The Newcastle Knights in 14th, they've got 2 points and they are negative 22 for and against. The Cowboys, currently Queensland's shame. And I know we saw that on the banner when Broncos finished with the spoon, but Cowboys 2 points, -25 for and against. And then the only two teams with no wins yet, the Eels on 0 points with -12.
Beautiful sight, must I add in? What a beautiful
Absolutely
sight.
love that. And not so much a beautiful sight, but sort of pretty much where they finished last year. Tigers 0 points, -18 for and against. And that'll chop off the ladder.
That's probably the only realistic thing about that right now.
Exactly. The only other thing I can think of that's realistic about this is probably Roosters and Panthers being
maybe Knights 14. But
yeah, maybe Knights 14 as well. And possibly Raiders 11th. I feel like that's probably a fair spot.
And maybe Penrith 5th. They might just miss out the top 4.
Yeah, exactly. But that'll do that. Just before we end off, how many tips did we get? How many? So take us through.
You want to go first, mate?
Well, okay. If you want, I'll go through first. The first game, Manly versus Eels, I got Manly there. I did get it right. So I was 1 for 1. Then I got Dolphins, but I chose Dolphins by 14. They won by 16, but that's 2 from 2. Chose Rabbitohs to win. They ended up losing. I chose Storm to win stupidly last second. They ended up losing. Chose Cowboys to win. They ended up losing. So I was 2 for 5 at that point. Broncos, my Broncos boys, they got the job done. They put me up to 3 from 6. The Tigers couldn't get the job done for me I thought they would. So I was 3 for 7, and to round it off, I did tip the Raiders. So I ended up getting 4 from 8, just right in the middle this week.
Same, mate. I just passed as well. I got 4 out of 8, the same as you, but just like you, a few games I just chose to choose delay onto the game day. For Thursday night, I had Manly all week, mate. Tip Parramatta last minute. Oh my God, why? Of course, Parramatta let me down. On Friday night, I took the Dolphins and I put 16 as the margin just for fun, and they got 16 points on the end. So I'll take that. Once again, I choose the Rabbitohs late as well. Stupid me, silly. Could have been 3 out of 3 there, but it wasn't to be. Storm Titans, I went Storm 1 to 12. Titans got the massive upset. Cowboys Warriors. I had a feeling Warriors were going to win, but I didn't back it enough. Being at Towns when I got that wrong. Shame on me for not backing my gut. Brisbane Dragons. Brisbane, you nearly had me in a hole there, but luckily they pulled through and they made my week happier. So 3 out of 6 at that point. Then the Bulldogs and Tigers. I took the Bulldogs to win there. I got Bulldogs, I'm pretty sure, yep. I took Bulldogs by 12. I actually went 1 to 12. And then I went Raiders to win. So 4 out of 8 in general. And I took the Raiders upset. So 4 out of 8 there. Could have easily been 6 or 7, but it is what it is. And from now on, I'm not going to change my tips last minute unless injuries happen.
Amen to that. I'm never changing my tips just before the game again, because I would have had, if I didn't change just before the game, I would have had the Titans right, and I would have had the Bulldogs right, because the Bulldogs, I had Bulldogs most of the week. Then I changed the Tigers. Then I changed back to Bulldogs and back to Tigers on game day. Oh my! So I would have had 6 from 8 if I just trusted my gut, and maybe next time anyone who got more than 4 this week, let us know how to trust your gut more often, because we
remember you said Tigers 13 plus.
Oh, I did too. I thought Tigers 13 plus was on. But no, the Tigers are still shit.
Yeah. I think just before we go there, I've got a question for you. Who was your most disappointing and your most impressive team of the week, and who was most surprising for you?
Okay, I'll start off with I think we go through one at a time. So I'll start off with the most impressive, and then I reckon you do your most impressive as well. For me, the most impressive team this week, honestly, Warriors in Townsville.
Yeah.
Didn't expect them to get the job done. They did.
I'm gonna go Manly. I think the way they've conducted themselves after what the Seabolt shit went through, the offseason drama and whatnot, Turbo came back, and they're doing a fine job at the moment. They look like a much more organized and classy side with DC and Turbo playing together. Okay, then you go on for your most disappointing.
Yeah, so I'll go. Well, least impressive. I'll title it there. Least impressed. Who was I least impressed by this week? That's a tough one. I'm probably going to go. I'm going to go Melbourne.
All right.
I just thought, I did say, I had a feeling Titans were going to win, but that's just not the Melbourne standard.
Sure.
That's not the Melbourne standard we've come to know and come to love from Melbourne. So, yeah, they're the least impressive for me. What about you?
I will go with the Cowboys, purely because Storm have an injury, so it was bound to happen. And they still nearly won with 17 errors, but the Cowboys, they had Drinkwater out. Warriors in Townsville, they've been struggling away from home for a while. Cowboys were leading as well. They had all the immense possession. They just never looked at it in the second half, and that's what was disappointing for me. Like, they had less injuries than the Storm, and they lost 13 plus. Like, they were never in it in the end, you know what I mean? And the Warriors won with comfortable and ease. So I think Cowboys match disappointing for sure.
Definitely. Most surprising for me, I'm going to actually go my own boys, the Broncos, and it's for a different reason though.
Yeah.
I just feel like the reason that most surprising to me was because they started the game terribly, and that was a surprise to me. I didn't think they'd do that. And they scored 4 tries in the last 10 minutes, which was also surprising to me. So for me, Broncos most surprising. Yeah, what about you?
I'm going to go Broncos as well, purely because, like, the same reason as you, but for me, because, like, we both gave Titans and Warriors a chance, right? So we anyways thought, like, if they won, cool, it would be upset, but we wouldn't be totally surprised. Like, and, like, the reason why I'm going surprised because the game was in the balance. Like, Dragons actually gave us a run for our money, and the way we just conceded them, like, it felt like a whole different planet we're watching the game on. It felt like Brisbane started the game and, like, we're just going to smash them. It was actually in the balance, and the way they just did it with so much ease, like, was it really 18-18? It was going for Golden Point. I was worried, but, man, Payne Haas turned it on, didn't he?
Yeah, definitely. Before we end off, Joe Bishop says Dolphins. They weren't really most surprising to me. I had Dolphins to win
If you're
win
talking
Newcastle.
If you're talking about overall as a season, yes, 3-0. I would have never predicted that, but come on, like this week they're against the Knights. And to be fair, they weren't even that impressive against Newcastle. Newcastle gave them a run for their money without Ponga and Brayley.
Yeah, definitely. That'll end us off though. Thank you so much to everyone who's joined in and watched, and to everyone who's commented during the live. We've clocked in about 47 minutes, just about. And Faraz, I'm gonna do something never done before. I'm gonna hand it over to you to end us off this time.
Yeah, thanks, mate, for that first time doing this. So, like, don't mind me being a bit silly here, but, like, look, mate, as always, you know, it's been me and Noah here. Obviously, Davis and Lockie, they've been through a lot of stuff right now, a lot of business, but promise you they'll be back better than ever. We always keep making content. The footy's back. We love rugby league. We love posting content. Follow our Final Siren page on Instagram. Give us a follow as well on Twitch. We're going to be posting a lot more stream games on, like, Thursday night, particularly. Maybe a few Friday night games, who knows, but follow the Twitch down there. Noah will send the link on Instagram. But once again, it's been me and Noah here from the Final Siren. We love watching you guys come in and give us support. And cheers. Thanks for another stream, lads.
Cheers, guys. Thank you.